In episode 72, we can see that Wang Lin, who was supposed to return to Vermilion Bird Kingdom shortly after Chihu, ended up arriving much later due to an accident during teleportation. Once back on Vermilion Bird Star, he learned that Zhang Niu had become famous because of Hong Dai, and he had even become the focus of attention from various major forces. What puzzled Wang Lin was that Vermilion Bird Kingdom had not issued a wanted order for him because of this matter. Despite feeling confused, Wang Lin had no time to delve into it further. Right now, there was a mountain of things he needed to handle, such as cracking the formation and restrictions in the Straw Hat, upgrading the Forbidden Banner, studying the Rain Sword, and so on. All of this had to be completed before Tuosan emerged from the ancient god realm to ensure he had enough power to protect himself. Therefore, he decided to return to Chu Kingdom first and resolve all these matters one by one. However, with his deity transformation cultivation, traveling back to Chu Kingdom using just his physical body would take an incredibly long time. The star compass in his possession was merely a pirated version and couldn't be used to navigate within the planet. Left with no other choice, Wang Lin decided to use the ancient teleportation formation to return to Chu Kingdom and continue with his cultivation and preparations. After more than 100 years, Wang Lin's appearance had remained unchanged, but far away in Chu Kingdom, Wan Er had begun to show signs of aging. She remained stuck at the core formation stage, unable to break through. If she didn't make progress before her life's limit arrived, her life would come to an end. If it weren't for the nourishment of the heaven-defying bead, she would have already passed away. As she neared the final chapter of her life, Wan Er's heart was still filled with thoughts of Wang Lin, fearing that they might never meet again, that she would be separated from him forever. At this time, the Yun Tian sect was in a life and death crisis. Recently, a bloodthirsty demonic cultivator at the deity transformation stage, Zhan Bai, had appeared in Chu Kingdom. He killed indiscriminately, and the number of cultivators who had fallen under his hand was countless, including nascent soul cultivators. Several sects had even been destroyed by him. It was only a matter of time before Zhan Bai set his sights on Yun Tian sect. Even more terrifying was the fact that Zhan Bai kept a swarm of creatures that thrived on the blood essence of cultivators, reproducing at an alarming rate. The cultivators of various sects were perfect nourishment for these creatures. What was even more surprising was that Zhan Bai was the very cultivator Wang Lin had rejected an alliance with when he was in the immortal realm. At this moment, Wang Lin was on his way to Chu Kingdom. Passing through the demon cultivation sea, he decided to bring Wan Er some gifts. In the various cities, Wang Lin purchased some alchemy formulas, paying for each transaction with top-grade spirit stones. However, this stirred the greed of some merchants, who began quoting unreasonable, sky-high prices. When Wang Lin chose not to buy, these merchants arrogantly attempted to force a transaction, even trying to rob Wang Lin of his wealth. In the end, these merchants were silenced by Wang Lin, and their entire business association was destroyed. Upon learning that Wang Lin was a deity transformation cultivator, no other merchants dared to quote such exorbitant prices. After completing his purchase of the alchemy formulas, Wang Lin continued on his journey toward Chu Kingdom. As Wang Lin approached the borders of Chu Kingdom, Zhan Bai was launching an attack on Yun Tian sect. In fact, Zhan Bai's actions weren't indiscriminate slaughter, but a targeted assault. He knew full well that the one person he should avoid provoking was Zhang Niu. Not only did Zhang Niu possess the natural enemy to his creatures, the Thunder Frog, but he also had the immense strength to sever Hong Dai's arm. What Zhan Bai hadn't anticipated was that Zhang Niu was none other than Wang Lin. As Yun Tian sect's disciples were being viciously devoured by the swarm of creatures and met their untimely deaths, and as Wan Er's defenses were on the verge of being broken, Wang Lin arrived just in time. Anyone who dared to harm Wang Lin's woman, Zhan Bai, would not survive this encounter. By now, Wang Lin had silently appeared behind Zhan Bai. The fact that Wang Lin was able to approach Zhan Bai unnoticed proved the vast difference in their strengths. Wang Lin released his soul wandering and summoned the Forbidden Banner. In an instant, the overwhelming force of the banner crushed Zhan Bai's insect swarm tactics, causing the creatures to collapse to the ground with agonized cries. Realizing he couldn't win, Zhan Bai attempted to flee. However, Wang Lin tore through the void, blocking Zhan Bai's escape route. Wang Lin activated the laws of time and then employed the laws of life and death, pulling at the cycle of reincarnation from heaven and earth, vowing to slay Zhan Bai on the spot, leaving no trace of life. Zhan Bai, seeing the dire situation, activated his insect beast domain, but the disparity in their power was too great. In the end, he perished under Wang Lin's relentless assault. After Wang Lin killed Zhan Bai, Wan Er's weak body finally succumbed, and she collapsed, releasing a heavy aura of death, signaling that her time was near. Wang Lin tirelessly poured his spiritual energy into her day and night. Over time, Wan Er's blood vitality gradually returned. With Wang Lin's careful care, he believes that Wan Er would fully recover and, with his help, could even have a chance to successfully undergo nascent soul formation. In fact, over the past nearly 100 years, Wan Er had attempted to undergo nascent soul formation 3 times, but each time ended in failure. The likely cause was her deep yearning for Wang Lin, which led to a chaotic mind during the process, causing her Dao heart to waver and preventing her from successfully undergoing the transformation. Despite countless pills assisting her, she still hadn't succeeded. For a core formation stage cultivator, Wan Er should have reached her limit long ago, but thanks to the dew from the heaven-defying bead, her life had been prolonged. However, the cycle of reincarnation from heaven and earth cannot be defied, and if Wan Er didn't succeed in nascent soul formation soon, her life would no longer be sustained. In an effort to help her break through, Wang Lin decided to take her, along with 2 nascent soul elders from Yun Tian sect, to a cold and eerie place, preparing for Wan Er's final step in achieving nascent soul formation. Wang Lin chose this location because the pagoda he had obtained from Zhou could only reach its maximum potential here. With the power of the pagoda, no one could approach unless their cultivation surpassed that of Zhou. Under Wang Lin's careful nurturing, Wan Er's body gradually healed, but the death aura within her became more intense. This was clearly the consequence of Wang Lin forcibly keeping her in the mortal realm. Heaven's cycle of life and death couldn't be resisted by human will. Before Wan Er's fragile body fully recovered, she couldn't attempt nascent soul formation again, or it would risk her body's collapse. Worse still, Wan Er's lifespan had reached its limit, and Wang Lin couldn't exchange her body for a healthy one to undergo possession and transformation. To extend Wan Er's life, Wang Lin decided to bid on a 6th grade pill formula at an upcoming auction, hoping that the pills would help her recover more quickly. Only once she regained enough strength could she undergo nascent soul formation, thus prolonging her life. To participate in the auction, Wang Lin and his companions traveled to the Demon Cultivation Sea. Returning to this familiar land, Wang Lin took a journey to his former home, as Wan Er had requested. A few days later, the auction began, and they arrived at the pagoda where it was being held. Under the guidance of the manager, they were led to the top floor of the pagoda. The manager then reported to a steward, notifying him of the possible arrival of a deity transformation cultivator. Upon hearing this, an elder from the auction house, curious about the cultivator, came to the pagoda. To his surprise, it was an old acquaintance of Wang Lin. What astonished the elder was that Wang Lin's cultivation progress had far exceeded his expectations. Wang Lin, once a core formation stage cultivator, had now reached the same level as the elder. Returning to the auction for the 6th grade pill formula, it quickly became clear how valuable the formula was, attracting numerous bidders. The price soared to over 10,000 high-grade spirit stones, and the competition was fierce. However, Wang Lin did not have that many high-grade spirit stones in hand, and exchanging them for top-quality spirit stones would not be cost-effective. As a result, Wang Lin decided to offer an imperfect wood carving that contained some traces of time-based Dao intent. Although it was a defective item, its power reached the later stage of nascent soul. More importantly, Wang Lin had infused meridians into the carving, turning it into a genuine nascent soul puppet, which would be considered a priceless treasure by cultivators from the Demon Cultivation Sea. However, the appraiser's cultivation was not high enough to accurately assess the true value of the wood carving. Seeing this, the elder ordered the steward of the pagoda to offer Wang Lin 20,000 high-grade spirit stones in exchange for the carving. Though Wang Lin obtained the 20,000 high-grade spirit stones and could continue bidding, someone suddenly raised the price to 30,000 high-grade spirit stones. This move was clearly meant to draw Wang Lin's attention, as the person urgently needed help from a deity transformation cultivator. In the Chu Kingdom, cultivators who could break through to deity transformation on their own were few and far between, and encountering someone like Wang Lin, she naturally didn't want to miss the opportunity. However, at that moment, Wang Lin was entirely focused on nurturing Wan Er's body and helping her undergo nascent soul formation, with no time or attention to spare for other matters. In the end, Wang Lin simply took an imprint of the pill formula, left behind the 20,000 spirit stones, and walked away. In fact, the pill formula was extremely old, and many of the herbs had already become extinct. As a result, Wang Lin had no choice but to summon the elders of Yun Tian sect to study the formula and search for substitute herbs. After a collective effort, suitable replacements were finally found. However, many of these herbs could only be found in cultivation nations with a deity transformation cultivator to guard them. As the only deity transformation cultivator in Yun Tian sect, Wang Lin had to personally go and use any means necessary to obtain these herbs. During this process, he encountered several powerful deity transformation cultivators, but fortunately, the encounters were all just close calls without danger. Despite Wang Lin only being at the mid-stage of deity transformation, he was able to stand his ground against later-stage deity transformation cultivators, showcasing his impressive strength. Meanwhile, sensing Wan Er's increasingly frail state, Wang Lin's main body broke through the earth and quickly headed toward the Chu kingdom. Once all the herbs had been gathered, the elders of Yun Tian sect worked day and night to refine the pill. Through their relentless efforts, the 6th grade pill was finally completed. As the pill's power was activated, a massive influx of spiritual energy poured into Wan Er's life core, and Wang Lin seized the moment to help her undergo nascent soul formation. However, as the nascent soul began to form, Wan Er's body rapidly withered, ultimately turning to bone, and her nascent soul began to dissipate. The reason for this was that Wan Er's life had long since expired, and Wang Lin's actions to force her to stay in the mortal realm violated the natural laws of the Tao. In the end, the heavenly Tao intervened, sending Wan Er into the cycle of reincarnation. Unwilling to accept this, Wang Lin resolved to defy the heavens and reclaim Wan Er from the grasp of reincarnation. He immediately used the reincarnation scroll, accompanied by the laws of life and death, to protect Wan Er. However, the power of reincarnation was overwhelmingly strong, and Wang Lin alone could not withstand it. Fortunately, his true body arrived in time, and the two Wang Lins, his main body and the ancient god incarnation, joined forces to resist the heavenly Tao, fighting against the power of reincarnation with all their might. Although the ancient god Wang Lin managed to push back some of the reincarnation power with his formidable physique, the force of reincarnation condensed by the heavenly Tao grew stronger, and Wang Lin found himself struggling more and more to hold his ground. Meanwhile, immortal cultivator Wang Lin used his divine sense to search desperately for a place where Wan Er's nascent soul could reincarnate. Ultimately, he discovered a pregnant woman in a village and decided to have Wan Er's nascent soul merge with the child in her womb, thus allowing her to be reborn. This action enraged the heavenly Tao, and heavenly punishment immediately descended. The two Wang Lins merged into one, doing their utmost to resist the heavenly punishment and buying Wan Er a slim chance of survival. However, this was only a temporary reprieve. 19 years later, the power of reincarnation from the heavenly Tao would once again descend, stripping Wan Er of her life. Despite this, Wang Lin swore to continue fighting against the heavens and vowed never to give up. After the heavenly tribulation dissipated, Wang Lin once again split into two. Although he temporarily bought Wan Er more than 10 years of respite, he himself was severely injured and needed to retreat into seclusion to recover. His main body hid deep underground near the village to continue cultivating, while his secondary body used the pagoda gifted by Zhou as a barrier, dedicating itself to uninterrupted cultivation regardless of day or night. Wan Er, on the other hand, was temporarily protected by an elder from the Yun Tian sect until Wang Lin emerged from seclusion. A year later, during Wang Lin's secluded cultivation, a teleportation point near the borders of Chu Kingdom welcomed a group of travelers. Among them were the female cultivator who had previously sought help for her father, the elderly man who had purchased Wang Lin's wood carvings, and several cultivators Wang Lin had encountered while purchasing pill formula. Their goal was to venture into the land of immortal remnants to rescue the female cultivator's father and, along the way, seek opportunities. At the same time, an envoy from the Vermilion Bird Kingdom was dispatched to Chu Kingdom, flying directly toward the land of immortal remnants. When the elderly man's group noticed this, they wondered whether the envoy's purpose overlapped with theirs. However, the envoy was stopped outside a barrier set by Zhou spiritual intent near Wang Lin's cultivation site. Unable to proceed, the envoy attempted multiple times to no avail and was forced to stand outside the barrier and declare his purpose. It turned out that the envoy had been sent by Vermilion Bird Mountain under orders to deliver a battle challenge to Wang Lin on behalf of Hong Dai. When Wang Lin failed to respond, the envoy grew enraged and loudly denounced him. But in the next moment, an invisible giant hand emerged from the void and directly grabbed the envoy. Although the envoy was at the early deity transformation stage, he felt the overwhelming power of the hand, which could easily crush him. Overwhelmed by fear, he immediately begged for mercy, explaining that he was merely carrying out orders. In fact, Vermilion Bird Mountain had not issued a bounty on Wang Lin. Instead, they had arranged the battle challenge personally, demonstrating that Wang Lin's standing on Vermilion Bird Star now rivaled that of Hong Dai. If Wang Lin could defeat Hong Dai, his future would be boundless. However, Wang Lin simply replied that the battle must wait for 10 years. Left with no choice, the envoy departed dejectedly. After the envoy left, Wang Lin removed the barrier and invited the elderly man's group inside. He then discussed their plans for the land of immortal remnants. Will Wang Lin join their expedition? And what earth-shattering opportunities might be hidden within the land of immortal remnants? Let me reveal more in the next spoiler. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching this video. Wish you a wonderful day.